I guess to start off, do you want to give a quick introduction on who you are?
Yeah. I'm Zoo. Came. I was a restaurant manager. Then I took up photography, drones, and FPV for freelance, and then quit my job. But then also found NFTs at the same time, like in between. So I got into NFTs like through Ethereum. I skipped the whole crypto and everything. Just because like we were selling art at the time and just like trying to get like some side income. But then got a knack for like trading in psychology. So uh went balls deep, uh minus 3K. I know I'm like writing whole stories like asking who I am, but like but yeah, like started with photography, down the drain like minus 3K. Uh kind of broke, so was on like my last horse, but like or last leg, whatever you call it. But it's pretty much how I got into space. And then if you ever heard of the Instagram metaverse with a METAV3, so one of the co-founders picked me up, and I worked with them for a while. Got a lot of networking in. During that time, I made a lot of network. I think that pretty much helped with like getting a lot of mint lists during the time and like just connecting with like the top dogs in the space. And then Azuki minted, and I've been trading a little bit, right? So I had a little ETH established. So but Azuki was the project, man. I max minted with two wallets, and I guess I like pretty much kicked off everything. And I started like trading pretty well. I got in on like not the alpha, but like I had a high conviction because I met a friend who was on the team, and I knew her from college when I was still in like esports. So I had so I trusted her, and then Steam Boy was also on the team for Overwatch, and then I didn't know who Zaga was, so I was like, just whatever, dude. but later on, like during the FUD, you realize who he was, and holy shit, this guy was massive, like behind the scenes for like the whole Ethereum network, which we can probably talk about later. But that's how I got into like dive deep into like Super Azuki conviction mode, and then like just that was I guess they became my bread and butter after like I parted ways with Metaverse. So
That's a lot to unpack there.
it,
How'd you land the metaverse gig?
so remember it's a photography. So like me and the co-founder had like a love for photography. So he was like, "Yo, you seem like a good trader." Um, so or like also like we just had a lot of things aligned. So he just picked me up, and yeah, we got connected with like all like I don't know like Andre Iguodala and all those like because like from the other co-founder who was like pretty networked with like in design with with a lot of big folks. So Roberto's pretty cool, Quinn's pretty cool.
Yeah, metaverse is a huge Instagram page. It might be one of the biggest crypto slash Web3, obviously, Instagram pages.
They shifted to AI and just news. Back then when I was on the team, I would like send them a couple of, like good projects here and there, not to pump like, but just good projects to promote or like just for like for free because they didn't do any shield. It's more like just for news wise versus like promoting, and it's just like if it's something dope that's building on the space, like dope, like we're not promoting it to shill, just promoting it just because things are being built on the network.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Yeah, I'm
mm.
looking at their Instagram right now. It does seem to be a lot of AI stuff.
It used to be more educational, just because we wanted to be onboarding versus like the grifters, like at NFT whatever when they were like doing pay shows.
Mhm.
So we want to be more cool, like like kind of like more educational, non-promotional, uh, you know, whatever. And we had like a couple like big things in the works, but I guess it kind of fell through. But I mean that's what it is. Happens all the time.
I mean, I mean, it's cool to be a part of that team. I do have one question that I was kind of confused about. So in your Twitter bio, it says you have Azuki OB. What does the OB stand for?
So OB was like a really beginning project within the team, kind of like just to like grow like organic feedback. So it's kind of like OG, but it's more curated. So now it's just like a lot of people have probably like either fallen out, sold during the FUD, or just misaligned or disconnected. But I mean, yeah, just pretty much OGs. But we had a deeper like I guess like connection network with the team, so we could relay feedback or whatever.
Was OB the DAO for Azuki?
OB was not the DAO for Azuki. We made a DAO just to like try bond reconnect, and we're like, you know, because you rekindle whatever, you know, because it's like not everybody thinks the same or like visions align besides the project. If you have a deep conviction in the project, right? So it's kind of like if we are both in the same project, then that's our main connection. That kind of deal. Like, oh, you know, maybe you're a Bulls fan, or like the other person is probably like a Heats fan, you know. So it's a little different, but you know.
That makes sense. So I've heard you mention Azuki FUD quite a bit, right? But before we get into that, you kind of want to just explain like what Azuki is, like how it started, maybe some early stories.
Azuki is a brand that was built like with just pretty much like 4 or 5 friends from the team. But they were as legit as they come during that time, because a lot of like it was like bull market is like too much free money, so like everyone just built whatever the fuck or whatever shit. But with Azuki, it was like as legit as like possible, and they were like most projects during that time was like building after they get the mint money, but like these folks were building before the mint money, which was like people were like, whoa, you know. But like, so right now they're building a brand. They're pointing towards a couple of things like through fashion. You know, they're probably gonna do things for like the metaverse when the time is right. According to the previous roadmap, they updated it to like a world map, so it's kind of like updated on the website. They promised to drip us from head to toe. Haven't been disappointed yet. So they collab with Ambush. They make golden skateboards. You can't say they haven't dripped the whales from head to toe without. I mean, so yeah, they minted. So like, here's an example. Like the ambush drip was crazy. Like it minted out. It didn't mint out actually. It did not mint out because ETH was like at $900 or 1.2K. So everybody was already fearful, and it was like post FUD Azuki. So a couple months down. So like it didn't mint out. But now that like there's like confidence regained, I recently resold it for pretty much like a 2x. Like OTC. So like there's demand, bro. Like in like the physical merch. And it's also like, so I guess the easiest way for me to like say to you what Azuki is Azuki is a brand for Sharu Labs. So Sharu Labs is the one that's building all the dope products, but the first person to get those products is Azuki, their own brand. So if that makes sense, like they're building the tech, like ERC 721A, the contract to like make sure like the whole space like gets lower cost when the bull runs, like when there's like 75 to like 200 Gwei days like every day. You know, the ERC 721A is gonna turn that like 70 to like $200 mint to like what 10 12 bucks, maybe 5, sometimes 20. Then they made the PBT. So the PBT is like very much like what Artifact's trying to do, or like all this like physical, like it's physical back tokens, basically like RFID or whatever. It's like trying to like verify like a physical product into the blockchain. So they built that and they made it open source. So a lot of people, some people that try to like kind of like what do you got, like pan it, trying to make it like they're probably the only ones pissed, but like they gave out all their shit like open source, free, like just to like let just to like be on brand with like Ethereum, like just be open source, like decentralized, like keep building. Like that's pretty fucking dope if you ask me.
Yeah, no, building openly and publicly is definitely the way to go. So that RFID chip thing, like, what's the idea behind that? Like, Azuki holders have physical access to.
So here's the thing with the ambush hoodie. So they did that with the ambush hoodie as like an experiment on top of the not experiment no, they used the skateboards as experiment or like to show what they were capable of. But then they made it more quote unquote publicly to like Azuki the non whale holder because only 9 skateboards. But like on the ambush hoodies, there's a chip on the shoulder with a bean logo. So what happens is like the hoodie follows. So the chip, so the physical, so the blockchain hoodie follows the physical. So I had 2 hoodies, and then I sold the other one over the counter, physically in person, right? Mm-hmm. So the hoodie I minted digitally went from my wallet to his without me doing anything because the chip was following. So the physical chip yeah.
Wait, how's that? Yeah, can you? That sounds super interesting.
Yeah,
so you handed somebody your hoodie, a physical hoodie.
So I minted the yes. So I minted the NFT because I had the hoodie. So it was in my wallet, but I sold it to the homie, right? So he bought it. When he got home, he scanned the chip on his shoulder and he like kind of like tokenized, like owned, like he verified he owns it now. So then the NFT moved from my wallet to his without me doing anything. And he paid for the gas because, somebody's got to pay for the gas. But I didn't give permission because he owns it now. If that makes sense.
So that sounds super interesting, right? So that chip, he taps it on his phone and then he signs a transaction on his phone?
Yeah, on the official website. So it works with the official website too.
It's done through the website. Okay.
Yeah. So you go to website. It will give you an option on the bottom left to like scan it and scan a PBT. And if you have one, so he had one, blah blah, and then say go to your phone, tap it on the show, the whole process. But it's pretty cool. I watched it like transfer out of my wallet. I was like, it's working as intended. I was like, hey yo,
that's so super. Cool. I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around how that works technically. So that means even though it's in your wallet, you don't have full control over the actual.
Because the control is on the physical side.
So it's like the private key in the hoodie itself or in the chip.
Yeah, there's a chip. There's a washable chip inside a hoodie, but it's not edible.
That's crazy. That's insane. I'd never heard of something like that.
So think of like. Yeah, so I think it's more usable towards high-end stuff like fashion or like the Mona Lisa or some shit. I use the Mona Lisa example a lot because like kind of like if you put a chip on it and you only mint one, then like the owner can transfer it and have a digital flex of the Mona Lisa if they own it, kind of deal. But
no, the Mona Lisa, it's so funny. I use Mona Lisa a lot too, especially with like normal people that aren't.
It's just the easiest to just. I mean, there's counter arguments, obviously, but like it's just like kind of in general easy to explain.
Yeah, exactly. So pretty much it's like you add the whole benefit of blockchain is that everything's instantly verifiable, right? If I send you Bitcoin or ETH and you receive it, what I sent you was actually Bitcoin and ETH. I didn't send you like a false code that's like pretending to be Bitcoin or ETH. So in theory, if somebody has a high-end painting and they have this PBT token that they can tap into their phone, it's pretty much instantly verifiable, unless there's unless there's a way to hack the PBT.
So the quote, there's no you can't. I don't know.
I don't think you can hack it. You probably can't hack it, but you can probably phish it or something where like somebody makes another website that looks like this that has
maybe. But it's just a PBT. It's not really like a valuable NFT. It's just to like verify on chain. You can probably check Etherscan to make sure it's like legit because they're all be in the same collection, quote unquote. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just a digital flex. That's all it is.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely read into that more later. So, how much was the Azuki mint in the first place?
Azuki mint was $3,000 a pop.
How much in ETH?
1 ETH. It sold out within 3 minutes.
So the
It was
floor
on a
of
Dutch auction.
was it on a Dutch auction? That's
Mm-hmm.
great. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So the floor of ETH, or I mean, sorry, the floor of Azuki right now is, I think, 15 Ethereum, which roughly translates to $30,000. So
Pretty much. That's
what
16.
utility? Yeah, so like,
Yeah.
what utility does Azuki provide, or like, why do people find Azuki so valuable that the floor price is 30,000 USD?
I think it's the most notable brand that have executed perfectly compared to every other project. If you were to like pay any project and hope that it moons, it's probably a lower risk in Azuki just because there's so much branding already established. Community is super strong. The community's doing dope shit. We're building IP. The team's doing dope shit. Team is actually recognizing the community that just doing dope shit. Like they just did the collector's profile for Spirit DAO. And like so like now you have like customizable PFP if you own a certain like community project NFT. Um, the team is really stacked. If you check all the backgrounds, everybody's either from Facebook, Google, or like OG, like OG crypto companies, or like they're really well established, or like people in their own industry. Um, I guess like it's more than just anime PFP to like people, the hardcore people. So like there's conviction in the team community, and then there's also like kind of like a status. I think if you own like Azuki, like our community is pretty hardcore engaging. On top of like kind of like supportive because we just want like if you're building dope shit, like people are gonna engage with you if you're doing it with like the project with your own like IP on it.
That's awesome. So Azuki's what? Like, I know it's top 10 in terms of market cap for NFTs. What is it, like 7?
It's number 2 in the space. Let's see, collection wise, I don't know.
When you say in this space, what do you mean?
Oh, like Ethereum network. Sorry.
Oh, word.
Yeah, it makes more sense because I'm not into like Solana or anything.
Is it number 2 even with like Bored Ape Yacht Club, Mutant Ape
Yeah,
Yacht Club?
yeah. I mean, we're above mutant, so uh,
Oh, I didn't know. That's crazy.
word.
So
Yeah,
Azuki, yeah, okay, cool.
yeah. Let me see. Yeah, if you so for top all time, um, Punks are first. I think they kind of bugged from like some kind of like floor price. It's like something glitched out and hit like not whatever. But I mean, maybe there's a million ETH volume traded on CryptoPunks. I haven't looked at it for a while. Next is Bored Apes, Mutants. Fourth is like Other D. But in
Hmm.
terms of like relative floor price, they're number 2. For top all time on Ethereum, it's number ranked 5 for Azuki. Six is CloneX. 7 is Moonbirds. 9 is Doodles. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But like actually 6. 6 out of like the top 10 for OpenSea. Top like I don't know if they track like like the rest of Etherscan, but on OpenSea like the top 10. Six out of like 10 is from Yuga Labs, which is insane.
Yeah, and it's I mean it's a relatively new project, right? It's only been around for
A year and a half.
yeah, exactly. Well, January 2022 is when the mint happened.
Was it, man? It's like
I think it
time
was
flies.
January. Yeah, I did a little bit of research a
Oh
few
yeah, it
hours
is.
ago.
It's been a
Just
year and a half. Yeah.
so since it is literally like 15, 16 ETH, which is $30,000. A lot of people like myself are priced out of buying one. Since I'm priced out of Azuki currently, that means I won't have access to like the private channels or like the benefits of having one. Even though I'm not a holder, like, are there ways that I can feel like I'm part of the Azuki community?
Oh, as long as you like want to be part of it, I feel like, and you're contributing in a sense. I think you're pretty much in the garden. I think our lowest holder is probably like 0.035. The access is like a Bobu, which is like a fractionalized 50K version of like an Azuki that they did. So you pretty much need only 0.035 to access the community. Really, most of the channels are open to like even like 0.035.
So you're telling me as me as somebody who's predominant, most of my content and most of my tweets and probably majority of my following or followers list is all Solana based. You're telling me if I join the Azuki thing, I'm not gonna get bullied by you Ethereum maxis?
Not really. I don't
No, I'm
think
just kidding.
so. I don't think so. I don't think people bully. If anything, if people bully, we call them out. I think Azuki holders or Beans holders are like held to a more higher standard, but like I mean, they're still like but like I said it at the same time. I said it like a month ago. Just because you own like an asset in a project doesn't make you really like part of a project because anybody can just buy in. It's like what you contribute to that matters versus like what you take out of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you shouldn't be representative of a brand if all you did was buy like an NFT. I mean,
Yeah.
I was mainly joking about getting bullied and stuff, but I know there is a lot of discourse on Twitter with like ETH versus Sol versus Polygon nowadays. Which is like, do you have a take on that? What's your opinion on like chain maxis? I think it's kind of cringe when somebody's like, "Oh, I'm only into
I'm just
Solana,"
I'm just
or "I'm
more
only into
comfortable on
ETH."
ETH. I'm just more comfortable on ETH. Um, I don't really care if you're a maxi or of which. Like I know I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. But I respect it. It's a store of value for a lot of people. Probably
Mhm.
and they're number one. They're number one. Their number one coin. On for crypto. So it's like just because I don't interact with it doesn't mean I can't respect it. For some people, they have to be a maxi or like, because that's what they believe in. That's why they're holding, right? That's their conviction. I mean, you're not gonna like try to beat someone's conviction down. So
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think there's a quote by Nivi, who's one of the co-founders of AngelList that always stuck with me. He said, "I don't have a point of view. I have all points of view." So it's kind of like I think if you like call yourself a maxi, you're kind of just like pointing out that you're like closed-minded. So it's kind of like
I don't think you're closed-minded. You could be also lazy. Like for me, I don't want to do another wallet or don't want to do like certain thing. I mean, I try branching out, but at the end of the day, I'm just gonna be ETH maxi because it's just most comfortable and easiest. Because I guess you know your way around the network as well.
yeah, I used to it's funny. I used to be an ETH maxi too. At one point in my Twitter bio, I had former ETH maxi like listed in there. That was probably when I first started using Solana more. I just think that a lot of people are priced out of ETH right now, where it's like, bro, have you ever made a fractional of an NFT before?
Bobu is a fractional. I haven't made anything fractional, but
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're familiar, right? So what I did
yeah, I
is
do.
I
Yeah.
created a vault with 4 NFTs, and I fractionalized the vault. And at that time, Ethereum was super expensive.
Oh yeah.
I think it was about 3,300, maybe 3,500. So the cost of moving all of these NFTs into the vault and then
Oh man,
fractionalizing it.
it was like $200 or something at least.
No, bro, it was more. It was almost. I could probably find like the transaction ID.
It's because it depends on like how many different wallets it's interacting with. Because so let's say like if I buy like an NFT from one person on like the market, it's gonna be cheaper than buying from three separate people at the same time, kind of deal.
Yeah. No, I'm aware of that. But so like with
Yeah.
the vault, right? Since there was 4 NFTs, it had to like
Yeah.
move all 4 into the vault, and then it had to fractionalize. So it ended up costing me like $1,000 just to create the fucking fractional. Because that's how expensive ETH was, and there was so much demand for ETH at
Yeah,
the
that's
time.
like point 0.3 at the time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it
That's
was a
still a
big.
lot. Point 0.3 is still a lot, bro. Like even in this day, or like even at
Yeah, it's
it's a lot regardless.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. And like, I'm like, dude, like I just spent $1,000 just creating this fractional that I don't even know if I'll like get an ROI from because fractionals at the time were kind of like this newer thing too. And
Oh,
I made like I doubled down on my bet. So like the NFTs I fractionalized weren't really that popular, but I'm hoping they'll be popular in a few years. And then I doubled down on the fractional concept. But the whole point of that is like operating on Ethereum can be super expensive. I mean, if you're just kind of like just trading NFTs and holding NFTs, then it's really not that big of a deal, right? If you're kind of just like buying and holding passively, if you're not constantly trading on ETH, it might not be the
I will
biggest
say
deal.
this. Um, Even though NFTs are mainly on like I think Ethereum, I think mass adoption would not be on ETH. I think it'll be more on gasless layer twos.
You think it'll be on layer twos, or do you think it'll just go to layer ones?
Um, well, mass adoption people don't care. Like when the actual Trojan horse comes, it's gonna be gasless. It's gonna they're not even gonna know it's on the blockchain. It's basically like the Pudgy Penguin toys. Like
Yeah.
when they scan the code, it's they're not even gonna know they're on the blockchain
Yeah,
kind of deal.
I had the same conversation, or not the same, but a similar conversation with somebody else a few episodes ago too. So I agree with you completely. So it's kind of like think about it now, right? When somebody swipes their credit card or they tap to pay, they know they're paying money, but they have no idea what's going on in the back end. They don't know that that tap is sending a signal to a network, which sends that signal to the bank, which then takes 5 to 7 business days to verify, and then that gets sent to the merchant, and now they have the money, right? In the back end, they have no idea what's going on. So if there's like a credit card that operates on blockchain, but it operates the same way, right? You just tap to pay, and then it does the same thing, just sends money from you to the merchant, but now it's done through the blockchain. People won't know they're using blockchain technology, right? Because it's so integrated. I think that'll kind of be the same way if there is mass adoption. People won't know what thing they're using, or it'll be done in a way where it's super
Yeah.
easy to do. Like I know Coinbase just launched like Ethereum domain names, right, for like everybody. And I think like when you clicked on Coinbase, it was like pay $30 and then be part of this, and they gave you like a quick like disclaimer. Most people aren't really reading it, or they're not really reading into it that much. So
Mm.
I do agree with you where I don't think this shit will really matter too much. But it will. I mean, obviously, whatever technology is better is what it's going to come down to. Whether that's on like an L
It
two or a
yeah.
L1,
If
guess we'll
it's
find
like if
out.
you're aware of it, make sure you're aware of it. If you're not aware of it, then don't worry about it. Like I don't know. Like yeah, let them make the UI to make it like where you don't even need to see it. So
Yeah, exactly. If you're not working on it, it's
I
like
mean, you're
whatever.
not looking at Etherscan all the time when you're looking
No.
when you're trading ETH or whatever. But that's really because the marketplaces are nice UIs. Like they interact with Etherscan for you, so it's
Ye-
like you don't think about it.
Yeah, and one thing too, the all the marketplaces look so much better than they did a few years ago. Like 2 years ago, oh my, we have like NFT marketplace aggregators now, where it's just one website has
Oh,
every
dude,
single
yeah.
NFT listed. Like, dude, where was that shit 2 years ago when I was like grinding like NFT trading? I would have to check 4 or 5 different
Oh
websites to
yeah,
see the floor prices.
Rarible was like clunky. SudoSwap was like looking like Windows 95. I mean, it's a little better now, but it's still.
Yeah, we definitely came a long way. So, since you are bullish on Azuki, how many Azukis do you have?
I had 9 this morning. I just sold one. Um,
Jeez.
yeah, I told you, bro. Like, I'm hard. I'm hard conviction, bro. But like, I mean, I'm just playing with the market right now. I'm gonna probably buy back one like before Vegas, just just in case whatever happens. Like I said, I started like with minus 3K in the bank
Yeah.
in the space. So like I think it's just like kind of like yeah, it's I guess it's a come up, but you gotta be careful because you never know.
Was most of your like wealth, I'm assuming, made through crypto or Web3?
Yeah. I had a restaurant job that was I was making like 24 to 35K a year. I mean, that's That's not great, bruh.
how
um,
how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
around below the 30s, a little bit slightly, but
So 27.
yeah, around there. Again, but yeah.
I love hearing stories like that where people have like ordinary jobs and then they find crypto and then all you have to do is deep dive a little bit and then you can make a fuck ton of money. And I mean, look at you now. You have your Azukis, even though you sold one, worth what, 240,000 right now, at least off floor price, and that's assuming you don't have any like crazy rare shit.
Yeah. I'm gonna buy back in. It's not like I made any money. It's like I never. I just trim profits because I actually don't really take money out. I'm like basically surviving. I don't know why. I just feel like it's worth holding Azuki's because like I don't think like this is the bottom or like oh I don't think this is the top kind of deal. Like it's and I don't need the money yet because I'm pretty much frugal. I get dude I like I said, I made like 25, maybe 24 to like 35K a year before then. Like I learned to live frugally. Like I probably like I live on 300 a month almost.
Jeez, where the fuck do you live where you can live off 300 a month?
Pretty much the hood. I mean if I'm on crypto and I'll never go out, I mean I'm good, bro.
Yeah, no, that's yo. So do you have like a retirement number in mind where you're like, yo, if my portfolio hits X amount?
I don't think so. I mean like maybe like 10 million, but like at this point I think it's just too boring. Like life's just too boring just sitting on your hands. you know.
Yeah,
So
when I say retire, I mean like I kind of mean like retire is a bad word. I should say like when do you stop worrying or caring about money, I guess. So not
um
like retire and go chill on the beach all day, right? It's more like not care about money and just spend all the time doing what you want to do, which
I
for
think it
a
just
lot of us
depends
it's
on your
just crypto stuff.
I think it just depends on each person's costs. Like you see my cost is low. I could do whatever and or whatever even without crypto. Cause I do have like my side my business, right? My little hustle. It doesn't make a lot really. Probably makes like 1 or 2 grand a year right now, just because I put it on hiatus. But I mean, if I really need to, I can get money in. I do have a low budget life. But it just depends on the person. I mean, if you're like if you like you know made a good amount of money, you can probably go to a third world country or somewhere in Asia. And you could probably live like a king, for maybe like one third the bag or maybe less. It depends on person. So I don't know. I think the answer varies,
Yeah, no, it definitely varies.
especially in California, bro. Like if you live in California, yeah, I don't know.
Bro,
I don't
I got
think
family in
so.
California and I went to visit and I didn't realize gas was $7 a gallon. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with like why is everything so expensive here?
You see, here's the thing. I don't go outside, so I never even like know about the world's economy or like the gas prices. I mean, but you can pretty much work online with crypto and business or e-commerce or whatever. I don't. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So are there any other like NFT projects or just like other like maybe cryptocurrencies that you're interested in or like heavily invested in? Because I'm assuming Azuki's your number one main
I've done a
conviction.
fair amount of research, and you know, um, I invested in a lot of things. I've also pulled out of through a lot of things just because like either A the hype dies or B like their execution is just not up to my standard. So I like sold a lot of things. So like I probably have one clone just because I think they might come back. Just a little bank that they'll probably like come back, but
Wait, what
we'll
do you
see.
have? My bad, I didn't catch
A
that.
clone X.
Oh, Clone X. Word.
Yeah, I got one of those. I got two Valhallas. Teams executing pretty nice. Communication's a little off sometimes, or they sometimes like just because you can execute well, sometimes just because like or whatever, it sometimes it just lacks the sauce. Like community, or like the right advising, because at the end of the day, your community is like made of like a good amount of degens. Even like at the core level, like even if you're a collector, you're a degen. I feel like majority, like, and you only need a couple to like start undercutting or whatever. So like you need to make sure everybody's like on board.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I think like to normal people, every single NFT holder is viewed as a degenerate, straight up.
I mean, most of the space is attracted by money first, and if they hold, it's because they believe in it, or I
So
guess. Yeah.
Valhalla, is that related to Azuki at all? Because I the art looks super like similar.
Um.
They both look like anime
So
slash
so the
gaming.
founder, founder's previous company is he's a co-founder, right? So he was a co-founder of a previous company of somebody on the Azuki team that was also their partner. So there's some mutuals in between there, but that's pretty much about it. And
Oh,
like,
okay.
okay, yeah, and I guess like I don't know, I don't know if there's actual like drama or beef between them, whatever, because like yeah, like the Valhalla artists, one of the Valhalla artists wanted to be like on the Azuki artist team or something, but like I guess they didn't work out. So
Yeah, I mean the art is. I mean both of the art is pretty sick, to
I
be
I,
honest.
I agree. I think I like both of them,
I
but
definitely see the similarities. I didn't even know there was a potential
no,
for
but
beef.
there's no, I mean, is there really a similarity? I mean, I don't know. Because
I
they're
mean,
from
yeah.
different industries, I think. Or are they? I think Hacham worked more mainly on League of Legends, while Steamboy worked with like Overwatch. But I mean, they definitely like were hit up by the Azuki team, during that time when they were hiring artists. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I said, they both had a good amount of mutuals because they worked in like tech in California or whatever. And like
So
I said,
is Valhalla, is this supposed to be like a game or something?
it's a streaming platform. They're building a streaming platform. It's kind of like Sharu Labs mixed products for Azuki. Um, Valhalla, they're doing Stacked for they're doing like a streaming platform through Stack, and then the benefits are Valhalla holders. Like as a viewer or as a streamer, there's probably gonna be perks down the road, but um, I like them, but they just lack some of the sauce. So I probably like had a high conviction on them, but like they're kind of slowly like falling through. So I slowly like creeped away. But I mean, hey, they could redeem themselves. I gave them my feedback.
Yeah, no, that makes
I
sense.
advised a couple of projects before. Hopefully they listen. I don't know. We'll see. But they haven't. So whatever.
So back to Azuki, right? So I
Yeah.
know, and obviously you're super bullish on it, but if you could sum that down to maybe two reasons why you're super bullish on Azuki, because I'm trying to understand
It,
why,
it
like,
comes down to the people too. Like if you look at dude, like the team will personally like send you a DM, or like they'll ask you for feedback like time to time. Like not just me, like, or like just could be new holders, or like like, because if you think about it, like some people like have a at this floor price, if people buy in, they probably have either a degen trading habit, thinking it'll go up or go down, or like they actually have conviction to buy in, because $30,000 is a lot of money. Like, so like the team, like the founder Zagabon will literally like time to time like DM you and say welcome to the garden, or like he'll sign Persian Masters. If you look at Yuga Labs, if you look at Bored Apes, like how often does the founders do that?
yeah, it's a fair point. Yeah, community and
It's the
I
people, right? It's the people behind like let's say every like dope ass dev just like execute perfectly, but like if it goes down, it comes down to like community, the people, and like yeah, pretty much the people.
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the NFT collections that I'm into now. So I mean, you're probably not too familiar with like Solana market or
I've
Solana
heard a
X.
couple of things like Claynosaurs and Mad Labs.
Oh yeah, I have a Mad Lad. I want a Kleino. I don't have one yet, but I do want a Kleinosaur.
Why? Why do you want a dinosaur NFT JPEG?
Because I heard what is it? Is it Pixar? Pixar Studios? I heard a few of the team members on Claynosaurs are
Is that why?
part of Pixar Studios. So
Is it a narrative, or is it
one of the
like legit? Like,
you would have to fact check that, but I think it is pretty legitimate that somebody
they
on.
were on the team? Because here's the thing with like those claims. It's just like there's they're top dog names, but like they're big companies. Like, they could be the bottom of the barrel of on the team, or they could be like, you got to make sure like, like Yuga Labs hiring like the previous CEO of like the Lizard, like.
Yeah.
Or like are they just like kind of like the janitor of Blizzard or something,
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, there's a huge difference between like being an intern at like Morgan Stanley
Exactly.
versus like being
Exactly.
like,
Say, oh, I worked at Morgan Stanley. You know what I mean? Like, it could be anything. Like, it depends if they have connections, right, to do something versus like, oh, you just work there. It depends on their relationship of their previous job, or or whoever they're talking to.
yeah, I'm trying to find something real quick. Because I was pretty certain that they like that was like a. I'm reading at the same time and trying to talk at the same time and keep stepping over
No,
my
you're
words.
good.
I was pretty sure that they had like a real strong connection to Pixar. Let's read this real quick. Let's see. So I'm looking at some Twitter thread by Cadence. I am Cadence. Before I cover Clayno, let's dive into some history of Pixar. Let's see. For the release. All right, so this thread doesn't mention anything about Pixar, but yeah, I mean, I don't own one, right? So I haven't deep dived fully. That should be a question I should know the answer to, though. But yeah, that was, I guess, if that's not fact, that was one of the narratives that they had connections to Pixar or former team members at Pixar. So with that being said,
I think it's always a narrative.
yeah, I think if you're trading, right, I think you should trade off narratives anyways and not. So I think if you invest, like value investing, also this is not financial advice to anyone listening, right? If you're value investing, then you should do just that, right? Invest based on like hard objective truths, based on objective values. But if you're just trading, right?
Because NFTs are fluff. Oh, not NFTs. I'm on the narratives are fluffs. Am I? Because if there's no solid like execution afterwards, really, you're just trading on trading on the narrative. Yeah.
I agree 1,000,000%, right? So I think for trading, narrative is everything. So if every single person believes this one thing to be true, even though it isn't true, or even if you don't
It
think
will
it's
last maybe, I don't know, depends on duration, right? But it'll last a little bit.
true. Bro, it's like the saying, right? Like, what is it? Like, buy the hype, sell the news, right? Essentially. So it's like, it doesn't have, if you're just trading, it doesn't have to be true. But if everybody thinks it's true, then the assumption is the price goes up because of the narrative. But the thing with Clayno,
do you buy? Do you buy? Would you buy because you think it'll go up, or would you buy because you think they're worth something?
all right, so I want to say most, maybe half of the things that I'm buying in crypto, I'm purely buying based on profit.
What's your hold time? I would say. What's your average hold time?
So right now I'm not really trading anything. So like my average, so like everything I buy, I pretty much plan to hold it for probably the next like 20 months or so.
Whoa.
Unless what's that?
I was like, whoa, 20 months?
Yeah, so it's a relatively long time, right? So like a lot of these.
I think you should. I don't know. Go ahead. I guess you can go on first before I say anything.
Yeah, so I mean that kind of ties into like bull market narrative, right? Where I think the consensus right now is that we enter a bull run in like 18 months or so. I think that's the consensus. I could be wrong, but I think that's kind of what like everybody on crypto.
I don't listen to that such a long time span just because my friend staked ETH where and it touched all time high. He couldn't do anything about it. It touched the Pico bottom, he couldn't do anything about it. It's just like if you're holding something that long, it's anything can happen, and I think you should just be ready to be on the trigger. If
Yeah,
you
no,
know, but it's
I have like price points too. Like don't get me wrong. Like if I bought an NFT, right, anything, or if I bought a coin and then it like 20x's, and it hasn't been 20 months, it's been like 6 months. I'm gonna probably there's like that. There's a high chance that I sell it, right? But a
right.
lot of these things that I'm buying, I do view to be more of like a long term play. So
Mm-hmm.
like 20 months might be like the time frame in my mind where I think the value will appreciate. So that might be the reason why I gave that number. Ultimately, half of my I have probably more than half of my bag, maybe like 75% of the bag is like strictly profit driven, right? It's like I would love to be in a position where I don't have to work anymore, right? So like make all this crypto money
I think that's
and
everybody, right?
exactly, right? And it's so funny because like I feel like you always hear it, oh, I'm in it for the community, I'm in it for the long run, I'm in it for everything. It's like, bro, let's be real. Everybody
Everything.
wants to make money, right? The
So
communities that are fun to be in,
I think
like
the
I've
question is, at what point or what project, at the point where you value certain things over the amount of money that it's worth?
yeah, I haven't found a project yet where I would put the quote unquote utility over like my end goal of like money, right? So I would believe more in certain like blockchains than I would in specific NFT collections or collections.
Okay.
So like I would like I don't think I would buy an NFT and then be like I'm going to store this in a ledger for 10 years. No. Would I buy Bitcoin, ETH, Solana and hold it in a ledger for 10 years? I could do that.
Oh
I have
yeah, everybody. Yeah, like yeah. I think it's because we don't like. Let's say we're on the same blockchain, but we don't see eye to eye. At least we share the same blockchain. So it's like the niche of conviction goes like the funnel goes like wider.
Yeah, exactly. So like Ethereum and Solana I'm super bullish on long term. Like I think ETH eventually if there's any coin that flips Bitcoin, it's going to be Ethereum, I think. I think personally, right? So I can have long-term conviction in that, but something like an NFT collection, there's not much there's not enough that I'm being provided by that collection or by that community where I can be like, yeah, I have long-term 10-year conviction on it, right? Because you don't know what happens. What if the thing flops 2-3 years from now? What if the original team gives up? What if they rug
You know, I
pull?
think it's
Like
interesting. I made a at like 16K when Azuki was at 16K coming back from like the Pico bottom. I made a bet that we would outrun Bitcoin just because there was like lower. You know, we have a lower supply of like 10,000,
yep.
and like execution. You know, I don't know. It so far the thesis has been working. we are flipping. We have flipped Bitcoin, so that was my bet because it was like at that point it was like a 1-to-1, and I had to make a certain bet of like which one will sustain or run better. I don't know.
How's Azuki doing in denominations of ETH?
What do you mean?
So like if you bought it for like last year, like so like in terms of ETH, not in USD,
Oh,
right? So they're trading for 16 ETH. Is that higher
okay,
in terms of ETH or lower in terms of ETH?
okay. I mean, I don't know. We fluctuated so hard. It could give. I'll give you timeline. So when we met, it was one. It instantly jumped to like 1.7, and then reveal was like between 3.3 to 2.8, and then immediately shot up to like 10 or like 7, and then 10, 13. Then it dropped like below like the 6 to 8, like twice. And then in March they had the first check your wallet. Have you heard of the check your wallet moment?
Check. I
Um,
don't think I have.
yeah. So it was at NFT LA in March 21st or some 30 whatever. Um, at at midnight, uh, Zagabond made a video exactly on the dot at like 11 p.m. Not midnight, but like he's like we're shaping the Zuki universe together, the brand. At that certain moment, he says, "Oh, and check your wallet." The dev team airdropped everybody like two pretty much like secondary collection, which was worth like at the time it was like instantly like 3 ETH. It jumped up to like 7. Beans went up to like 7. So everybody was hyped. Everybody's crazy. So like in Ethereum, in the Ethereum blockchain, check your wallet is like one of the top historic moments in NFTs, just because like the euphoric feeling. But then that also like was so executed perfectly. During the event, the Azukis were like 13. They skyrocketed to like 35 within the week.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously didn't sell because everything was so perfect. Like during that time, like it's hard to find a good project that can do that. And then the reason why they ran up that high was because everybody thought they were gonna flip Bored Apes. But then the bear market came, Luna collapsed, and like Ethereum was dying.
FTX rugs.
Yeah, that's way later. But during that
Is
time,
it way later?
yeah, 35. It dropped back down to 30, 28, 24. A week later it dipped to 18. I started cutting losses because the whole network was like dropping because during that time JPEGs were liquid. You know what I mean? We didn't have Blur, so like only like if a couple people go out, the floor already tanked. So I already exit. I de-risked from everything. I stabled up, but on the same day right before we hit like 18, 16. Man, the Zagabond FUD drop. You heard about that?
I did not hear about that. You mentioned Azuki FUD earlier. I did not hear about that though.
So he pulled out an article that says a builder's journey, and it reads he previously founded 3 derivative projects, and he kind of quote unquote rugged them. So by rug, he just left the project, but all the promises were fulfilled. But hey, but God forbid, somebody stays in a project, and it's a derivative and it's over. So that kind of killed Azuki for a little bit. It went from like what I said 18-16 in the morning to like at night it went to like like 8 to 10, bro.
Why'd you stay in through that?
I guess it was like to me it felt like baseless FUD. I wanted to make sure before I leave that everything was like factual. To me it was all fluff. I was bullish that it was a derivative, but I was bearish that he kind of left the project because the narrative. I know that narratives is like a huge thing in the market, right?
Yep.
So, but like I said, it was to me it's basically and when I came into the space with not a lot of money, but Azuki kind of made where I am today kind of deal. So like at that moment I was like, I'm going back in, to support community, and I just spent all my money that I stabled up back in. Like I pretty much didn't like make any money. Cause I averaged out to like the same price I sold everything at, which was kind of crazy. Cause I stabled a fat chunk of money, but like
what year did you get into crypto?
2 years ago. Exactly.
Yes.
Like 2 years ago.
Yeah, pretty much me too. Maybe maybe a little more, maybe a little longer than 2 years ago. But everybody always says it takes 2 bull runs before you get rich, right? So everything that you did to this moment is like you're just wait. I
Dude,
feel like I'm waiting for the catapult to happen in like 2 years from now.
I don't know. I think you can make money in a bull and a bear. So like at the pico bottom of ETH and at the pico bottom of Azuki, I pretty much balls deep, triple, quadruple down on like a couple of NFTs. I pretty much made most of my money back from the bull. So you can make money in a bear, and you can make money in a bull.
I think you can make more. This might be a crazy take, right?
I think it's just a risk.
Make more.
I think the risk just shifts because there's in the bowl like you breathe the air and it kind of pumps. but in the bear you just gotta be a little smarter. In the bear you just gotta be a little smarter. But there's money to be made everywhere. It just like depends on your risk. I already pretty much made a good amount of money back at the bottom. So I'm just sitting comfortable in the bear right now. Because if it goes back down to the bottom, you know, it's cool. You know, like that's pretty much where where's my initial, not my initial, but like my entry for the bear is. I
Yeah, no, I definitely hear you on that.
I averaged out as 1,700, and I thought that was the bottom. Oh, that was painful. Like, cause it did like 60% more.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like, so I had to like, it's like when you put the foot, when your brakes on the foot, or like, what do you call it? Like when you put, when you put your foot on the brakes, and it's like, and the floor is just burning your tires. It was basically that I kind of like burned my ass on the way down, but like, at least I didn't like fully sell out, or, I just pretty much DCA out and then just DCA back at the bottom. So it's
Yeah,
like,
you were catching a falling knife, but I mean, it's you can't predict, right? You can't.
exactly. Like, who would have thought ETH would hit $900? Oh God! But
Yeah, it's funny.
ETH. So yeah. So back to Azuki. Yeah. During the builder's journey, the next day they had a Twitter space, so it went from like back to 17 because people thought they would clear that shit up. But damn, this Twitter space was the worst space in history of like Ethereum, bro. Like we only have like 4 or 5 thousand holders. Guess how many people were in that space?
What I 10K more?
Dude, 10 to 13,000.
Jeez.
Dude, if you were in the community, you were getting out ratio by the fudders.
Oh, I could imagine. I could
Dude,
imagine that if
it was
the
insane. I didn't
yeah
sleep for a week trying to like defend the Discord and Twitter. And I had to run Metaverse. Like, bro, it was full on like defender time. But now it's like this is not. It's like if somebody want to talk shit to me or like fud from my bags, and I know where my like conviction and my facts are, like just shut the fuck up. Like, I know where I'm talking about. Like, you can't like fud me out. I will do my own research. You know,
yeah, no, I hear you.
it pretty much hardened me. Like, but it also hardened the community. So that's what made it like so much tighter and stronger. So so it went from 17 ETH straight down to 6. Like we took even more hit on top of ETH dipping, Luna, ETH. Like, dude, if you were a Zuki holder, you just watch your bag go from 34 ETH down like 90%, 95%.
Jeez,
And
yeah, no, that
we
sounds
held that shit.
insane.
So if you think about it now, like if you want to buy in, you have to buy. Well, that was Grandpa telling me eat, even though he understands. I'm on the mic, but so yeah, if you were like, I don't know, like if you want to buy it now, it's like you bought past the FUD, kind of like we held this shit for you, kind of deal. Like that's what it feels like if, as like a core holder. It's like you didn't have to risk through that.
Yeah, that
And
kind of reminds me. Have you ever heard of Galactic Gecko Space Garage?
no, I never heard of it.
So that's another Solana NFT. I don't have it, right? But their stories, I don't want to say it's really similar, but the original team kind of ended up rug pulling, quote unquote rug pulling. They kind of just didn't give it as much as
Oh,
much.
is it about the dude? No way. Is it what I think it is? It's like a big rug,
No,
or is
no.
okay.
Yeah, you didn't really narrow it down with is it a
Okay,
big rug?
so like it was a Solana like they're not bullish of like the Solana. Like I heard there's like a couple rugs from like to my like it reached my ears, which was funny. Like like certain things be like, oh, thanks for minting our project. Your money is now in my bank. Thanks.
And nah, this wasn't one of those. It was so the team kind of gave up on it. So what happened was they went from like 40, 50 Solana to like 2 Solana, right? And what happened is
Uh-huh.
the NFT holders themselves, they ended up buying like the rights and the IP from the original team. So
Okay.
now Galactic Geckos, they like their lowest was like 2 Sol, now it's like 42 Sol, I think. Maybe 45 Sol, somewhere from there. So that
That's
kind of
amazing.
yeah, so that community held like you were saying Azuki holders were down 95%, right? These guys were down. Fuck, like
Zero, basically. Yeah. But
yeah,
I
they pretty
mean,
much held that to nothing, and now they are where they are, right? So it's like
but I
now,
mean, you have to look at Ethereum. We peaked 100,000, 110 on top of the two beans that we were given, which was like another 40,000. So we were given 140 grand. We had 140 grand worth from just holding one Azuki, we just pretty much got reduced to like ashes.
shit, yeah, it's fucking
So
crazy.
yeah, I think our lowest point with both combined is probably like, oh god, like if you held everything so like 15 grand. So yeah, like 85, 95% down. But yeah, I understand. It's like, but on Sol, it's like what, I don't know what price that was, like 200.
It was around 200-ish or so.
Yeah, I traded some Solanas at like 200, but
This
like
might be,
I stepped out after like I was quick get in and get out because it was hype. Like there was this one project that was hype on.
dude. It went from like $3 to like 260 in like
Yeah.
a decent amount of time. Yeah, so the hype was insane, but obviously it was a little overhyped and a little overvalued.
Mm,
Well, I don't want to say overvalued because I do think there's a lot of benefits to Solana. I do want to go back to Claynosaurs real quick, just because I feel
sure.
like I didn't give it the proper attention it deserved. I don't want to just do them dirty like that.
Yeah, I heard Pixar's.
Yeah. So
And
I'm
why
going
you want
through.
to buy in
Yeah.
dinosaur
So
JPEGs? Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, so I found a tweet from their actual Twitter, from their
Uh huh.
official Twitter, right? So it just says our five primary Okay, let me restart that. Our five primary animators have a track record. They've animated on Minions, Despicable Me, Scooby Doo, Avengers: Infinity War, Avatar. Like these are all fucking insane. Like The Dark Knight, right? And then our team has all held leadership and supervision positions at the respective studios. Combined, they have been a part of multiple Oscar-nominated and Emmy Award-winning teams. Dot dot dot. And then they introduce all of them. So they list them by name. So there's five names. One is Boris Plateau, Alex Ronco. I'm not going to read all of them, but they did list every single person. So we could, in theory, I guess, Google every single name. And
Yeah. See
I'm
how
assuming,
big they were on the department. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I mean, if they held leadership and supervision positions on like their animation teams, then that's a huge deal,
Oh no,
right?
that's huge.
Yeah, like to me that makes me insanely bullish because when I look at the Claynosaur art and I look at someone like the animated GIFs, like I can see this being in a movie. Like it reminds me of The Land Before Time. I don't know if you ever saw that movie back in
Oh,
the
I've
day.
seen them. That was OG.
Bro, yeah, exactly. And yo, I fucking am like when I was a kid, I don't want to say I was obsessed with dinosaurs, but bro, I don't something about like dude, this is a good I went to Houston like a year ago and Um, I had one free day, so we ended up hitting a museum, and there was like a dinosaur movie at the museum, and I watched the movie for like 2 hours. Like I spent 2 hours of a Saturday. That's how much I like dinosaurs, right?
Yeah.
And all that combined,
What's the supply on Claynosaurs?
I would have to check. I'm assuming it's 10K. Assuming.
So you have to like find either people that can hold 10K dinosaur JPEGs that have the same conviction or similar.
Yeah, no, I feel like the community is pretty strong, to be honest.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, I'm just very interested in how Rock and the Claynosaur PFP will work, I guess.
I don't know if I would switch my PFP right now is a Mad Lads. I'm looking at Tensor.trade right now to see how many are listed. Yeah, so on Tensor, there's only 653 out of 10,222 that are listed. So I do think there's pretty high conviction for this
Mm.
project. I mean, I went into the Discord fucking trying to trade one of my degenerate apes for one of these Claynos, and they kind of nobody wanted to even nobody wanted to talk. They're just super bullish on Clayno. But
Word.
we're a little over an hour, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. I will ask maybe like I don't know one more like Solana question. So
You're good.
obviously, do you own any Solana NFTs?
A fractal. I still have a fractal, I think.
A fractal of what?
Or like Everseed, I think. See.
So since you're familiar with Mad Lads, right? Why don't
Yeah.
you own a Mad Lad?
Oh, I just heard about him. I'm. It's because it just takes too much attention. It's like, okay, if you think of it like this, if most of my bags are in Ethereum, I'm gonna keep an eye on my Ethereum bag. But if
Yeah.
it's like in Solana, like I just have to like check a different like marketplace, a different chain. I have to like open up a different like wallet to like just to like maintain it. Like it's just too much work.
Does MetaMask doesn't have Solana still?
Nah, I think Phantom's working on it, but like if you
Phantom,
already,
yeah, no, Phantom has Ethereum on it now, so it's
but but
like
but here's the
super.
issue. Here's the issue. It's like if I have MetaMask downloaded and Phantom downloaded, they both double pop and it gets buggy. So like it's like you can either pick one or the other. And if everyone's already in MetaMask, they're gonna be comfortable with MetaMask. You know, it's
Yeah,
like
no, this
it's
the
like
switch is gonna be.
yeah, it's like converting. It's like converting a Honda Maxi to like or whatever. I don't know. Like
I just think personally, right? Like, not to give you unsolicited advice. I just think when there's money to be made, it's like fuck it, download the dude. When you
but like here's the thing with that. It's like just because you're good at that certain area doesn't mean it's more optimized for me to make money there. If that makes more sense. It's like I rather trade NFTs than stocks because I'm better at NFTs than stocks, even though people some professional might be making a crap ton on stocks.
yeah, I can agree with that too. But I don't mean just for trading, right? I just think there's so many like, especially when you break it down into ETH, like $1,000 is what, like point 0.6 ETH, 0.65 ETH, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like there's so many like so many soul collections that I have pretty high conviction in, where if I was somebody like you who had a fucking like just your Azuki bag is pretty much like $250,000, right? It's like is it out of this world to be like, hey, let me just throw 10K or maybe even 5K into like some Solana NFTs?
I'll probably lose most of that money because I don't know what I'm doing, right? So it just takes more time to research a whole new like area, right? Versus like slowly branching out.
Yeah, I think
I even in NFTs, like I wouldn't put my bag outside of mostly Azuki's, like just because I know my like it all depends. It's on like it's like on top of conviction as well.
yeah, no, I feel you because it's like
Like yeah, I wouldn't just randomly put 10K into like a random NFT project, kind of deal. Like
so do you have any mutant apes or bored apes?
no, I actually look at the bullish thesis and stuff. It's like it's just not very. I think to me. I think they might either drown out or flop or get flipped by Azuki just because they already given most of their holders like pretty much passive income if they already been holding, or
Yep.
two, like they already gave everybody like 50 bajillion airdrops. Did you know there's at least did you know there's over 270,000 assets in the Yuga Labs ecosystem?
I did not know that.
That's a lot. They're not gonna keep all those holders happy, bro. There's just too many people to maintain.
So I'm glad you have high conviction in Azuki, right? And it makes sense why you wouldn't switch over to Sol because you're not even really switching over to other like Ethereum collections, right? So the jump.
Exactly. I'm more of like basically an Azuki Maxi versus like I have conviction in ETH and Azuki, but like not really much any other NFT project on the Ethereum blockchain.
Yeah, no, that's respectable. It's also kind of I mean, it's also kind of Solana. Like Solana and Solana NFT projects should take accountability too, because nobody should be like convincing you to buy into their stuff, right? You should like it should hit your radar. You should want to be interested, and then you should want to make that decision on your own.
Yeah. I mean for Solana, I think it's like it's pretty much closer to like similar thesis. It's kind of like why do you want to build on top of Solana kind of deal. And
I
but
think it's mainly just like the cost and scalability, right? So like
exact yeah,
Ethereum needs L2s, right? Just the fact that it
I
needs
agree.
L2s inherently makes it have bad scalability.
Less superior. I don't know, or like I don't know. I did talk to some Solana guy, and he said I think they're upgrading Solana to like 1,000x more better, whatever. But we'll
Yeah, I
see.
mean the TPS is pretty high now. Like it's insane. Like this is so funny. I sent Ethereum from MetaMask to my Ledger wallet one time, and I didn't want to pay a heavy gas fee. So like on MetaMask you can you can customize how much gas you use, right? So I just used the lowest amount. Bro, that shit took like 33 days to touch my ledger.
Oh no, you can't do that. So that that's
I didn't
probably
really. No,
yeah,
that's my fault. I didn't realize that it was gonna take 33 fucking. I would have paid the $10 or whatever
yeah.
if I knew. But thing with like Sol, like if I send somebody Solana or anything on Solana, by the time I click send, it's already in their wallet. It's so fucking quick. It's like instantaneously sent over.
Yeah, I guess it depends on congestion as well. Which blockchain has better like handles like in the bull. I mean, it's so like for the reason why ETH can always run on the bull is because like it just pretty much uses Gwei as like priority. Like even dude, if you looked at Bitcoin like during like right now like BTC ordinals, like there's barely like a fat chunk of bull people like, and it's already like causing traffic on the Bitcoin error network.
Yeah, Bitcoin definitely is not.
And these Bitcoin maxis are pissed. If you look at Solana, like during the bull, they kind of broke down a little bit too.
I mean, I don't want to say broke down. I think people
Okay,
are just so used to it being instant, where it's just like, oh,
exactly,
you waited
dude.
3 minutes. It's
Dude,
like, dude,
when the Luna crash happened, I heard like Solana people couldn't even take their money out.
I don't. Oh, so you're
Like the
saying
network was so on panic mode. Yeah, like you couldn't even take your money out. So then your
you
money
mean the
just
FTX crash, not the Luna crash?
FTX.
Yeah, when FTX crashed, its Sol ended up hitting like $8, like or $8, $9. So it's so much panic. I think
It was so much panic that the network couldn't even let anybody pull out.
yeah, I mean it was just
Yeah.
I used Sol that day and it was definitely way slower than usual. I don't think it wasn't like alarmingly slow though. Like I mean maybe if you were moving a fuck ton of
There,
money or
I,
something.
I I think there's a cost to comfort. Like if you can like transfer your money at the snap of your finger when you really need to, and you'll pay whatever it costs.
Yo, you know what's funny? I'm glad you mentioned that, right? So there's like there's a thing Ethereum maxis always say this where they say like high gas fees and like slow transfers are bullish because they're deflationary because it makes people not
Oh,
want to
that
sell
too.
anything. I
Oh, I
think
mean,
that's I
and the
think that's
thesis
such a silly point though. It's like, oh,
is
you
silly, but I mean,
it's true,
there's a small true point. Yeah, exactly.
but it's just like, oh, I'm not allowed. It's like it costs too much for me to make a transaction, so I'm not gonna sell. It's like, oh, that feels like you're like boxed away, like you're enslaved to the chain. You don't have the freedom to make the sale, and it's like, oh, this is bullish. I don't have the free. People don't have the freedom to sell. They're priced out of selling. I think that's like the silliest point. But it is true though. I mean, it is a little true. Like with Solana, everything's so quick, right? So
Is Solana deflationary?
Uh, I don't, I don't, I don't think so. No, I
Yeah,
don't know.
what dude? When
I gotta
shit
admit,
cooked?
I don't know too. I'm not like a technical expert on
Okay.
any of this, any of the stuff really. But
Yeah.
I mean, nothing that's too alarming for Soul. Um, one last thing. So it is a little over an hour. I'll let you
Yeah.
wrap
No.
up too. But
Yeah, you're good.
before I give you the chance to wrap, I just want to mention how this fucking podcast even started. So literally, I posted one of my degenerate apes that I wanted to trade for either a Klano, a Mad Lad, a Galactic Gecko. Somebody on Discord with your name messaged me, and it seemed pretty legit because they're like, "Yo, I'll just buy this for like 55 Solana." I'm like, "All right," like, so I didn't think it was a scammer. And then Discord, I don't really like the one-on-one chat in Discord, so I was like, "Let me just DM this dude on Twitter." So I DM'd you. And then I was like, yo, figured it's easier to just DM you. And then you pretty much are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't trade on Solana, and when he started saying "Hey, brother," I was like, I do not say "Hey, brother." Um, but also like I don't know. I always check my request messages. So I mean, you never
Yeah, no,
know
that's
what
just
message you get sometimes.
yeah, I think that's funny. I think this will be my first podcast that's not directly Solana related. And
Interesting.
Azuki has been on my radar for quite a long time. It's funny. It's this kid was like kind of he was like bragging. He was bragging about making 30K in 1 week, and he did it off Azuki. So that's like my only memory of Azuki. But before we end off, do you have any closing remarks?
I don't know. Be water.
Drink water, stay hydrated, give money.
And also, I don't know. Yeah, be water. Like the crypto space moves so fast. Just learn the flow of traffic, learn the flow of life, learn the flow of the market, and you'll always be ready for whatever happens next. Good or bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I never stake my shit. Sorry. unless there's a way to pull it out instantly.
Yeah,
But
fair point.
yeah, that's why I'm like when you said 20 months, I'm like, damn.
Wait,
Uh,
when I said what?
like you'll hold for 20 months.
Oh, 20 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have price I don't want to get too into it, but yeah, I have certain take profit things
For
that
me, I don't have a price point. It's more like psychology and timing.
I think it's easier to time it now in terms so not for NFTs. I don't have NFT price points, but I do have like Solana and like ETH, right? So it's like I think first take profit for me is like the last all-time high because I have full conviction that Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, these coins will hit their all-time high again, right? I have full conviction on that. So with
Right.
ETH, that's like what, like a 2.5x from here, like maybe 3x. I don't know exactly what ETH is chilling at right now. With Sol, that's like over a 10x, like close to like a 13x almost. So in terms of trading, I have full conviction on ATH, right? So that's the first take profit. In terms and denominations of Solana or ETH, when in relation to NFT collections, I have no idea what my take profits would be. That would be purely based off feelings.
I learned from the craziest traders in the space, and it's just stack your blockchain crypto. Just keep stacking ETH, keep stacking Solana, keep stacking Bitcoin, because like even if everything tanks, but if you were stacking ETH, you would at least either break even, or like you'll pretty much multiply your money up. So
Or you just wait a little bit longer, right? Like I think 20 months,
yeah.
but what if I don't know, what if a meteor hits Earth in 20 months? A tiny meteor or something, I don't fucking know. Something crazy happens and the markets collapse. It's like I still spot bought all this stuff, so like I'll just hold this for like a little bit longer.
Yeah, I know.
But I think that was a good way to end it. I appreciate having you on for sure. Definitely
Pleasure.
appreciate you taking the time to chop it up about Azuki.
I don't know. Just keep an eye out. Vegas is in 3 weeks. They haven't delivered anything for a year at least. That's like super like huge. So Vegas in 3 weeks, it will be their big stage.
Definitely sounds good. I'll definitely keep an eye out.
Yeah.
All right, man. See ya.
So, oh, it's okay.
Yep. Take care. Bye.
All right.